Welcome everyone to the official launch of Aforza Studio. My name is Candace Mueller. I am the Vice President of Product Marketing at Aforza, and I've actually been attending the Promotion Optimization Institute's European Summit this week in Dublin, Ireland, where we've been showcasing the new capabilities of Aforza Studio. And the response has been overwhelming. There's a lot of enthusiasm around these new capabilities that help you to manage and execute content across all channels. So I'm delighted to have this time with you to share with you these latest innovations as part of our Aforza Studio launch. I'm also going to be joined by two of our co-founders in today's webinar, both our CEO, Dominic DiNardo, as well as our Chief Product Officer, Nick Eales. First, I'm going to kick things off with some brief welcomes and introductions before turning it over to Dominic, who's going to share more information about why Aforza is investing in Aforza Studio to help solve the content management and execution needs with our latest solution. He's also going to share how we're solving those needs across different use cases and the benefits that they deliver to you. Then we're going to transition over to Nick, who's going to take us through these capabilities in detail through 3 specific demo scenarios. Then I'll pick things back up again to conclude the webinar with some Q&A and final remarks. Before we move into our focus for today with Aforza Studio, I'd love to just take a step back and remind everyone of the continuous industry innovation for consumer products that Aforza has been dedicated to over the last 4 years. We've had 12 releases, and all of these releases have been dedicated to helping consumer products companies transform how they perform visits, sell, and execute promotions across all channels. And all of these innovations has resulted in 4 best-in-class distinctions from the Promotion Optimization Institute, including internal collaboration, data and analytics visualization, coaching, and mobile UX. We're also extremely proud of our customers' achievements using Aforza, including the accomplishments at Distel, Novidus, AG Bar, and Transmed. And we're going to continue that focus and dedication with our new Aforza Studio product launch. Now let's focus on today's webinar. Today is a very special new chapter for Aforza with our official launch of Aforza Studio. And we're very excited to continue building on our industry innovation momentum to now solve the content management and execution needs, including promotion compliance, brand detailing, and shelf intelligence for consumer product companies. And in today's webinar, you're going to see how we're bringing these innovations to you to help you simplify, secure, and deliver consistent content execution across all channels. And we're also very thankful to the Promotion Optimization Institute for already recognizing the special value that Aforza Studio offers. In their latest Retail Execution Panorama report, they've identified the value that Aforza Studio brings for promotion compliance for capabilities such as image capture and watermarking, in addition to our new brand detailing capabilities. And that's one of the reasons why we wanted to host this event during the European Summit. Now what I'd like to do is welcome Dominic DiNardo, our CEO and co-founder, who's going to share with you more information about why Aforza is investing in Studio, including the benefits that these new capabilities are able to bring to consumer products companies for content management and execution. Dominic, now over to you.
Thank you, Candice, and thank you everybody for joining us today. Today, the launch of Aforza Studio. It's a really, really important day in Aforza's history. And I just want to take a moment to thank the customers, the partners, the prospective customers, and all of our friends in the ecosystem that have joined with us today. Let's get stuck into it. Let me give you a bit of context to explain why we're bringing Studio to market and why we believe it's so important for consumer products, food, beverage, and consumer goods companies in general. So, look, everybody in this call, everybody's going to have a mobile device. And I'm pretty sure everyone is, through the course of their day, taking photographs for, business purposes. But the statistic that completely blew me away was that the average employee, not just consumer products, not food, not beverage, but the average employee has more than 2,000 work-related photos on their device. And at first I was like, really? Come on. But then I thought about it, like my everyday life, I walk back around things and thinking, oh, that's interesting, take a picture, send it to somebody, and you typically send it to WhatsApp or something, right? Because it's just there and it's in your device, and some sort of dialogue ensues. And it occurred to us, if that's just like any industry, an industry like food, beverage, consumer products, where the layout and perfection of brand detailing, etc., is so important, that content explosion is just exponentially bigger. And it's not just the execution of our work, it's also how we interact with our customers. And this stat here from McKinsey saying 71% of customers want demanded digital interaction. That's not consumers, that's customers. We're talking about B2B companies. So our actual B2B customers want a digital interaction and want to talk around things as well. So if you take all of these things, this multiplier effect, and with the systems in place, you kind of have this explosion of content going on. And it's unstructured. It's not like, it's in a form and it's all nice and neatly done. It's unstructured data being communicated on every day, everywhere. And really, when we think about it, the amount of business this interacts with, or the amount of business that's impacted by this, is actually literally millions and millions of dollars. So in this slide, I want to get across to you, kind of like to give you a bit of perspective and a feeling for that. Like we've got this desktop in the middle, this user's got the PC, and they've got loads of different things going on. And, we're trying to convey just how busy they are and how many different types of files and things they're impacted with. And then on the Android phone there, you can see like there's a WhatsApp dialogue, a really important message going back and forth about a shelf layout, all legitimate things that are probably happening every day, probably in your company right now. But the business processes we're dealing with are really, really important. The proof of compliance, the share of shelf, the stock auditing, the proof of performance, the compliance checks, the promotion checks, and it goes on. And by the way, this is just a few of the use cases. It goes on. And we know that this directly impacts your margin. We know it directly impacts your cash flow. And the old stat from McKinsey, 70% of trade promotions fail to generate a positive ROI. That erodes your margin. Where does that happen? Poor store execution and poor retail compliance. How do you measure those things? How do you capture the information? And then, of course, that proof of performance and proof of compliance, those photographs, those evidence points, that can really tie to real cash flow. And we've heard statistics like $3,000 could be tied up in one photograph. Maybe it's more, maybe it's less for you, I don't know. But you know what? It's not a small amount of money to trivialize. And then, of course, there's the general thing about missed revenue opportunities, poor brand coverage, out of stocks. We know that can hit up to 25% of a consumer products company's revenue. 25%. How do you measure it? How do you know? So it's a direct impact in your margin and cash flow. And that's why, to address these things, we want to empower your team to control it. And today we're going to be demonstrating to you 3 specific use cases that we think are really, really important. And by the way, this is the first 3, but when we talk about Studio and the platform that it is, you'll see that there'll be many more use cases coming in the future where we believe that we can make a big, big difference. Let's talk about number 1, promotion compliance. You can see here in the graphic, this is all about photo capture, but capturing information. It might be about hygiene, it might be about promotion execution, it might be about competitors, and we can watermark it, we can certify that, we can actually make sure the photo was taken when we said it was taken, the location of where it was taken, and we can basically give you a certified version of it so that it's very, very secure. You can collaborate with your agents and your manufacturers or the distributors on these images, and we track lots of data around that visit execution. So we can capture like not just the location, all these things, but we can tag it. So we can say, for example, that it's non-compliant, or it's compliant, or it's hygienic, or it's a perfect store, and all those things. We'll get into this later. Those elements can drive workflow follow-up actions. We make the data actionable in a way that is not done today. And then this middle column, brand detailing. Well, what's that about? So increasingly, as you automate more and more, and your salespeople do more and more persuasion, and they're talking to people to explain the value of your products, You're going to need assets to do that. You're going to need simple presentations. You're going to reports. You're going to want promotional assets. You're going to want to be able to do that on the move. You're going to collaborate on it with your agents, your retailers, your manufacturers. You want to do the best job possible so that everyone can execute on that at the best possible content. And the content has to be up to date, and has to be relevant. And you know what? We're seeing more and more the use of augmented reality so that we can place our chillers, our fridges, our bar taps, So, sorry, I just remembered a quick story I definitely wanted to tell you. So, a couple of weeks ago, I was hosting an exec dinner in my hometown, Glasgow, and my new party trick is to do an augmented reality demo, and I placed that bar tap, you know, it's just to the right of the image in the centre, on the end of the dinner table. It was really, really nice meal we were having in Glasgow. And I was with a couple of colleagues from Brewdog, and they were watching me do the demo. And the thing I really loved about these guys was they took over. Halfway, I'm there, hey, look, you could put this beer tap into the table. And they took over. No, Dominic, you wouldn't do it like that. You would take it into the bar and you'd put it over the top of our competitor's beer tap. And then we would be like showing them how it would replace and how they would sell them. And they took over the sales pitch. And the thing that hit me, and it hit me straight away, was just how they brought it to life. Like you know, what I was thinking was kind of like a fun party trick gimmick, for them was an important sales tool about how they would displace their competitors. That probably explains why Brewdog, with the talent they've got, is like exploding with their on-trade penetration. You know, I think statistically, I think in their first quarter, their installs were up 200 or 250% when they rolled out Aforza. Really, really impressive. So it really brought it to life. And then the third use case, image recognition. Now, image recognition has been around for a while, and it's had a lot of challenges, but it's an important part of the story. So, you know, people can say, like, can you recognize the products? Can it do, you know, obviously it can't do things like counting in depth, but it does understand it understands, tongue twister for me, share of shelf, you know, and we're partnering with a company here to bring this to life, where we're going to be using syndicated models to help make sure that we can understand how to reduce costs in the use of models and to bring it more cost effective. And again, tying with the use of the Studio platform, tying it in with tagging and proactive actions so that it comes to life and it's actionable is a really important point. And I need to stress this. This is just the start. This is not the end of the Studio story. It is the end of the beginning, but this is just the first of many, many use cases to come. And the reason why we're able to do this so quickly, we could bring this technology to market to make such a difference for the consumer products industry, is we went and built a platform that had infinite scalability and storage, a massive digital repository for terabytes and terabytes of data. We knew it was going to need the security you needed to be able to provide access control. We knew that it had to do tagging and workflow, because we knew that things like hygiene would require follow-up actions, or competitors would require like follow-up actions, and that you could drive like telesales calls or things automatically. We knew we wanted to support lots of rich content, because we knew the future was going to have things like augmented reality in it. Collaborate with your agents with link sharing, use searches and save lists, because I need to know what the latest promotional materials are right now. I don't want to click through 50 folders to find it. I just want to see the latest one. Just give it to me. Right? And then this is so important for consumer products, for food, beverage companies. It's got to work offline. And, you know, there is no industry like the consumer goods industry where offline access is part of the omni-channel story, because the internet doesn't work too well when I'm trying to merchandise ice cream amongst a bunch of fridges. It doesn't work too well when I'm in a very cool basement bar and I can't reach my cell phone provider when I'm like buried underground. There's always use cases where you need that performant application to work when you're offline. Now, we've put a lot of thought into this, and you know, we said at the start about there's kind of like a content explosion, and we talked about how people are communicating kind of business data but in informal systems. How can they do it? Well, they do it because they just know how to use it, and training is absolutely minimal. And in these use cases, we've thought long and hard about it. We've minimized the need for integration. You don't have to do some big ERP project. Like, we've built this system to make it as close to switch on and go as we could, which means your time to value is like absolutely minimized, but the payback is very, very significant. And we'll talk more about this at the end, about how you can get started. But the key thing to remember is this doesn't have to be the world's hardest project. you can actually get started and get going, get real value in this really, really quickly. And for your company, the payoff could be significant. And so in this slide, what we're trying to do is just give you, to bring it home, the statistics that the impact could have on your business. 25% missed revenue opportunities due to poor retail execution, or 70% of failed promotions on promotion execution. And then like some numbers here below, like if you had a $500 million company, what might it look like, right? To put it in perspective for you, we'd love to talk to you afterwards. At the end, I'll come back and I'll explain how you can actually make these kind of business cases for yourself. Now, I'll talk for a couple of customer stories, and then I'm going to hand it to Nick to actually walk these use case demonstrations through with you. I like Transmed. I'm a big fan of Transmed. Transmed, the world's largest Procter & Gamble distributor. I should explain why I like it. I like this photograph because a lot of these photos are genuine photos of people doing stuff in action, right? And you can see it's a Procter & Gamble display, this gentleman. You can see he's smiling, which I quite like, even though he's slightly turned away. And here he is taking a photograph to prove his performance of what he's doing, which is like a morale booster for employees, right? It's important. People like to be proud of what they did. I mean, I'm sure everybody in this call, takes pride in their work, right? This is what this gentleman's doing, and he's in the, I think he's in the Carrefour in the Mall of the Emirates, which I believe is the largest Carrefour in the world. There he is, doing a promotion execution for one of the biggest consumer goods companies in the world, Procter & Gamble. Really, really great story. And then we've got for a very different kind of company, brilliant company, Dr Wolff. I've started using their products myself. I probably should have used them a little bit earlier for my different caffeine shampoos. But great company, still family-owned business, high-quality products. But their products really require detailing support. They are, they're talking to hairdressers, but also pharmacists. They have to explain the value of their products all the time. And so there's quite a lot of science in the way it's executed in their sales model. So lots of the same challenges as food and beverage manufacturers, but also almost the business challenges that you might see in a pharmaceutical company with having to explain the scientific properties of the products. Great example of a company that has got lots of detailing needs, and a relatively new customer for Aforza, so welcome to the family, and really excited to partnering with them for the future. Well, we covered a lot of ground there, but I think it's really important now that we actually see the reality, and I'm really pleased to welcome my good friend and co-founder, Nick Eales, who's going to explain to you now and give you a demonstration of exactly the use cases we're talking about.
Hi Dominic, yes I'm here, and thank you for that introduction, and thank you to our audience for joining us here on the Aforza Studio launch webinar. I'm so incredibly excited to talk about our brand new product and all the fantastic use cases that you could take advantage of when using it. So we're going to go through 3 demonstrations today to show you the power of the new product. And we're going to look at promotion compliance. How do I make sure that when I'm in a store, I can capture proof of performance, and that we can then follow that compliance chain right through to claims. I'm going to look at brand detailing. How can I make sure that I properly articulate the value and I can sell our products correctly to our customers when speaking to them? And then, of course, we're going to look at stock checks with image recognition. How can I make sure that when taking a photo of a shelf, I can accurately capture the amount of stock on those shelves and start talking about proactive order replenishments? So 3 really interesting use cases. I'm going to take you through each of them. Let's dive straight into the first one. So meet Lily. So Lily has to capture proof of performance images to guarantee that the promotions that are being executed in store are compliant. So to do that, she's going to be running through a series of visits. So she's going to be checking into a visit, making sure she's in the right location, and then she's going to start working through those compliance checks. And as part of those compliance checks, she's going to be capturing images. And when she captures that image, it needs to be stamped correctly so that we know that she was in the correct location at the correct time, looking at the correct compliance check. And that image will be watermarked and stamped and sent through to review, where it can be reviewed and then automatically, based on what we know about that image, whether they're compliant, non-compliant, execute follow-ups whether that's another visit, whether it's an order, whether it's rejecting a claim. All of those are possibilities. So that's the demo flow we're going to go through. Let me dive straight into the software now, and you can actually see this executing and working in real time using Aforza Studio. So here I am in the Aforza field application, and I'm logged in as Lily, ready to do my day's work. And I'm on my very first visit of the day, visiting Fresh Start Shop Southeast. And on here, I can see that prioritized list of tasks on the left-hand side that I need to complete. And I can't actually click on any of them yet because I haven't started the visit, I haven't checked in. So when I click check in on the top right, what it's going to do is it's going to do a geolocation check and make sure that I'm in the correct location. So if I was not in the correct location, we could completely stop this visit from proceeding. So we're guaranteeing that proof of location, which is very, very important when you're making sure your sales reps are doing their compliance checks correctly. Now in this case, we're actually allowing Lily to continue based on the GPS, but like I said, we could stop her if needed. Now, when I start that visit, I can now see that prioritized list of tasks, and the very first thing given to me is to check the promotion compliance. So when I click into that, it's going to open up a promotion audit. And on here, I can see all the different promotions that would currently be running at this store or this outlet. And I have the option to now go in and I can start capturing information about it. So for each of these soft drink promotions in the VIP soft drinks, I can start saying, were they in the correct location? Were they missing? Were they, was the stand assembled correctly? Are they discounted correctly? What is their shelf price? So I can capture all of this information very, very quickly. But in this case, we know that the branded fridge, which should be displaying the products, is actually missing all the products. There's nothing on the shelf. And it's also been displayed at the back of the outlet, which is the wrong location. So we've captured that information, which is great, but how do we prove it? How do we go back to the customer and say, hey, this is incorrect? Well, to do that, we're going to capture a photo. So we're going to go to my Studio tab, the Aforza Studio tab, and I'm going to click Create New. And I'm given a few options here. I can upload from my files, I can upload from the gallery, add from camera. And I'm going to go ahead and upload a picture of this fridge that shows that it's completely empty and in the wrong location. So when I take a look at that photo, we can see it's completely empty, there's nothing in it, and it's in the incorrect location. So now we have proof. We know that the image is there, and we can go ahead and we can submit that promotion compliance audit and have it checked off the list. So now that's completed, I can go about doing the other tasks I need to in the store. But that promotion compliance audit is going to be sent through for review, and the compliance reviewer will be able to see all that information and see that image that we took as proof. So let's jump through now to the Studio application where we can see how the promotion compliance auditor goes about their day. So here we are now in the Aforza Studio portal. And the Aforza Studio portal does a lot of stuff, but we're going to focus on just the compliance use case right now. So we're looking at this as a compliance manager, and we are going to use it to check all of those photos we're getting from the field and making sure that our promotions are being complied with correctly. So here in my asset catalog, I can see all the different folders where I can access my information and obviously my compliance folder. I can scroll down and I can see any new assets that have come in. So I can see my real life feed of photos coming in from the field where we can see some really nice stocked shelves. And if I want to, I can click on my saved searches. And in my saved searches, I have a compliance review search, which I set up earlier. And this is where I can really just click in and start my day and start looking through all of the compliance photos I still have to tag. So I can see there's lots to do, and I can actually see the compliance photo that was just submitted by Lily in the store today on the 23rd. So if I click into that, I will open that up and I can see the details. So once I open it up, I can see that image that she's took. But I can also see it's been watermarked. And this is really important because this guarantees the process that she followed is the correct one. So I can see the date she took the photo, the task it was taken for, the customer it was taken for, and the location. And this is just one example of how you could tag and watermark your compliance images, but you could put any information you want on there. Now, me as a compliance reviewer or Lily as the person that took this photograph, we are unable to change this watermark. It is stuck on there. It cannot be removed. So if you ever need to send this to a third party, whether that's a manufacturer or distributor or someone else, they can guarantee that the photo was taken in the right store at the right time, doing the right activity. So I can now review this. I can click on it. I can look at it in more detail, but I can see very quickly that, it's the incorrect location. It's an empty fridge. That's not what we signed up for when we offered this promotion. I can see some metadata tags have been added, but I'm going to add a new tag saying non-compliant. And by doing that, it's checked this off my to-do list. It's now been removed from that to-do list, and it's also started executing some workflows. So because this is non-compliant, there's a series of tasks that we need to do to follow up on it. And that might be visiting the customer, it might be notifying the customer there's an issue, and a number of other things. But all of this has been kicked off automatically just by me adding that tag of non-compliant. So really simple, very easy to do as a compliance manager to work through my list of images to do for that day. And I can guarantee when looking at these images that everything has been automatically done as it should have been, and that me as a commercial leader have that single view to capture, view, and organize and tag all these compliance images in a fully end-to-end secure environment. The last thing I want to show you is what happens behind the scenes when that compliance manager tags an image as non-compliant. So as I mentioned before, we can trigger any number of actions like follow-up visits, like replenishment orders, like emails to the customer. In this case, we can see that next week on Lily's calendar on the 30th of May, a new visit has been scheduled for the Fresh Start Shop Southeast. And if we click on that visit, we can see that the tasks have been added to resolve compliance issues and review the promotion claims with the customer, and also capture a new order. So because of that non-compliant image, we've automatically said, Lily, you got to go back to that store, you got to resolve these issues, and then we got to review the claims they've made with us because they probably owe us some money that we need to collect on. So really, really powerful way of taking a digital asset, taking an image in the field, tagging it, and then having that result in an action for your field reps to go and do something and solve an issue with the customer. So in that demonstration, you can see how Lily was able to easily capture a promotion compliance image, have it watermarked to guarantee that it was taken in the right place at the right time, and then how a compliance manager can then review them very quickly using Aforza Studio, tag them as non-compliant, and from that trigger actions that Lily is then able to do afterwards, whether that is a visit, an email, an order, or something else entirely. So really, really strong way of managing that end-to-end promotion compliance lifecycle using Aforza Studio. Let's move on to our second demonstration. So in this demonstration, we're going to be looking at brand detailing. So meet Karina. She is a field rep that goes into the store to talk about the latest promotions and products with her customers. And to do that, she needs the right content and collateral to make sure she's articulating and showing the value of the products to the customer. So we're going to go through a step-by-step process where Karina is using the Aforza Studio mobile application on her tablet to view all the content that she needs to do her job. She's going to look at specific promotions and brochures that she then wants to show to the customer and go through the different product information. And then to really sell home the point of how we set that promotion up in the store and how it will look, she'll go through actually using augmented reality to showcase on her iPad where that promotional fridge could be and what it would look like when accessed in the store, or when placed in the store, I should say. And then later that day, we're going to see how a customer who's interested in a promotion or interested in some of the products that Karina showed them actually then can call back and execute an order using telesales. All right, so let's jump into the first bit of the demonstration. So here we are on the Aforza Studio mobile application. I'm logged in as Karina, and I can see my full asset catalog, all of my private assets, my favorites, and anything I've got available offline as well. When I'm in the asset catalog, I can see all the different folders that I have access to. I can see all the different images that I have access to as well. I can swap between grid and list view, so I can get a much more efficient view based on the use cases I need. And I can click into any of these areas to get more detailed information and all the assets I need. So for instance, I can go into my product catalog and I can start to see all of the different product categories, all the different promotional content. I can go to my soft drinks, and this is where I can start to see and drill down into my soft drink specifically, which is what I'm interested in today. And I can click into any of these products and I can come up with the full-size imagery, which I can then easily share with all of my customers and favorite them if I need to as well. So very easy to use, very easy to navigate, and gives me access to everything I need at my fingertips to properly talk to the customer about our products and about what's available to them. But let's say I want to start looking at promotional information. I can simply click on my search, and on here I have access to those same saved searches that you saw before in the previous demonstration. So I can see I've got a promotion detailing search here, and when I click on that, this is going to bring up all the different promotional content that I use on a day-to-day basis when I talk to my customers. So I can see there's a number of promotion brochures, I can see some promotion collateral, I can see a planogram, I've even got my 3D model, which I use quite frequently. So let's imagine I'm talking to the customer, they're interested in this soft drink promotion. I can click into that promotion and I can show them all the information about it. We can go through the different terms and stipulations. We can show them all the product marketing. We can show the special offers that they can pass on to their customers. And if they're happy with that, I can go ahead and I can even share this. So I can share this on WhatsApp, email, any other application that I'm using to give that image to the customer and to make sure they have access to it for use later. I can even start marking things up on this image if I need to. So for instance, I could start drawing specific areas, like they really like the branding on here, the 100% pure and natural is really resonating with their customer base. I could take notes, I could do whatever I need to, and then I could save this image back into Studio. So again, using that detailing aspect to properly capture what a customer is feeling and what they're saying about your products and your promotions. So if I go back into Studio, I can look at some of the other content that might be useful. I can see everything is tagged as well, so it's very easy to filter and search. The customer might be interested in, what a fridge should look like. So you can actually, go and show them some sample planograms, and you can say this is how it should be set up with your soft drinks if you were to take our promotion. So that's great. But then they say, well, I'd like to see this in my store. How would this actually look? I can then click on the 3D merchandiser, and this will actually open up the 3D view where I can see that actual fridge placed in their store. So here I'm in the store, and I can actually go ahead and I can organize this fridge. I can place it on the end of one of their shelves like I'm doing here. And we can then show the customer, we can walk around it, and we can see exactly how that would look in their store. And if the customer's happy with that, again, I can share it. So I can share that 3D asset. I can share an image of that asset. So again, they have some proof and they have some imagery that they can take back and talk to their manager about or talk to corporate about. So we're giving them all of those assets when they need them. We're showing them the right stuff. So we're making sure we have that fully comprehensive set of assets that are available to us at any point. So now we share that with the customer. Now we've given them access to all the detailing information they need to know about this promotion or the products in the promotion. They decide they're going to go away and think about it for a little bit, and we say that's fine. And we make sure that we send them email follow-ups of all of this content so that they're able to access it and they can pass it along as they need to. Later that day, the customer has reviewed all that promotional material. They've discussed it with their manager. They're happy to proceed. So they actually phone the telesales environment, and a call center agent picks up that call to go and complete the order and place that order for the customer. Now, because we know we went on a detailing visit earlier, we've automatically generated an order in the system for that telesales agent with the right promotion and the right products needed to execute that promotion correctly. So here in the telesales environment, in the order capture, I can already see that the VIP soft drinks promotion has been added. We've got the branded fridge freezer in there as well. So all that's left for the telesales agent to do is to really complete that order or to try and upsell them. And just like in the field, our telesales agents, no matter what channel you're in, have access to that same studio content. So if the customer had any questions about a specific piece of the promotion, we can actually go and show them or talk to them about it as a telesales agent because we have access to that same content. And again, we could share it with the customer if we needed to as well. Now, while I'm on the phone with the customer, I can also try and upsell them. So maybe they were looking at soft drinks in the fridge, but perhaps they are also interested in some alcoholic beverages or some other products that we stock. So we can simply add those to the cart as well. And we've had a really, really successful order capture experience with that customer. So I've just shown you really quickly and easily how a field agent like Karina can go into a store and they have access to a fully tailored set of digital assets that they can then share with the customer. And they can be sure when they're showing those assets that everything is handled by HQ. All the field agents are using the same assets. They've got the right promotions, the right products, all available to them. And when they show them to the customer, they can show them using either PDFs, images, or even augmented reality directly in the store to really get the customer wowed and excited about how they could be positioning these products and upselling their customers. And then right at the end, we showed you how even if a visit isn't immediately successful, we can schedule follow-ups and we can execute follow-ups by sharing content in channels like WhatsApp and then having the telesales experience available so a customer can place the order when they want to. Really powerful stuff. Okay, so this is the last demonstration of the day. This one is all about stock checks and image recognition. So meet Jamal. Jamal's job is to go in as a field rep and to do stock checks. So making sure that everything's on the shelf correctly, there's enough stock there, and to do replenishment orders if there isn't. So Jamal has a number of tools he can use to do this using Aforza. Jamal will be using the Aforza field application to start doing that stock check to capture the details he needs about all the products on the shelf. He's then going to be using Aforza Studio to take images, to capture images of those shelves, where we then have image recognition that's able to automatically detect where there are products on the shelves, is there out of stocks, what's the share of shelf, and you're going to see how all of that is materialized within the Aforza Studio suite. And then based on that information captured, we're going to see how HQ is able to have a holistic view of that customer, seeing exactly what's on the shelf, what needs restocking, what orders need to be placed. So here we are starting out in the Aforza field application, and Jamal is on a visit. He started the visit and he's now doing a stock check. So he can easily see all the products he's got to do a stock check for. So some of these are on promotion, like we saw the promotion compliance check earlier, but some of them aren't. So we've got some of these alcoholic beverages that this customer purchased in telesales. And he's able to capture all the information about this. So obviously the quantity on the shelves is quite critical. The status of the product, whether it is purchased or missing. The shelf price, are they discounted, the purchase price. But what he's really, really focused on is that quantity. It's making sure that he's got the quantity correct for all these products. Now, when you only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 SKUs, it's not too difficult to be able to go around the store and start manually typing these in, like Jamal's doing here. When you start to have tens of SKUs, it can get a bit more problematic. And even with the ability to click check all and have all of these automatically flagged, it could still be quite time consuming to have to go around and manually check everything. And when you're dealing with hundreds of SKUs, that's where it gets almost impossible to do it in a timely manner, especially if you're trying to do tens of visits a day. So this is where image recognition and Aforza Studio comes into play. So again, Jamal can go to a Studio tab and use that to capture images of the shelves he's looking at. So we can see a shelf image here. He's going to capture that and he's going to upload that. And that shelf image is really just showing all the soft drinks in a fridge. Some of them are his brands, some of them are competitor brands. But he wants to just capture that image and let the image recognition work out what the stock levels are and gather important information that can then be passed back to HQ. So Jamal can go ahead and he can complete that stock check and submit it. And once he submits it, that then is going to be sent through to Aforza Studio to analyze, to get the right stock levels and to push it through to do further action. So let's take a look at how that works. So here we are in Aforza Studio, where we can see that same image that Jamal just collected as part of the stock check, but it's been analyzed by the image recognition. And on here we can see it's been tagged with the number of products and SKUs found on the shelves. We can see that bounding boxes have been added to the image as an overlay, so we can very easily see where the image recognition has actually found it. And we can also see the share of shelf that's been calculated based on the information we've captured as well. So through that one photo, we've automatically collected a lot of information, which is extremely helpful and important to HQ. And importantly, we're sending that information through to HQ as well. So if we go back into our HQ view of this customer in Aforza, we can now see that the Fresh Start Shop Southeast, which is Jamal's previous visit, we can see the actual outlet assets that we know that they have, the products and SKUs, and the stock levels that have been fed through from Aforza Studio. That means that HQ has all of that real-time information, and it means all the commercial leaders can really assess the availability, the facings, and identify out of stocks very, very quickly and easily using this central view. We also can provide insights. So for instance, we know there's an upsell opportunity for beverages based on the low stock values that we've just got through from this customer. So really, really critical, really easy, but really important information to gather and to share with your commercial leaders in HQ. So let's just recap what we just saw. So we saw Jamal go in and perform a really quick stock check by manually entering some information, but then deciding to take a photo, and then the image recognition take care of most of it for him. So he took that information, he took that photo, and he was able to capture very quickly and easily all of the SKUs that were on the shelf of that fridge. And then image recognition was able to quickly analyze it and show exactly where the SKUs were, what the share of shelf was, what the stock levels were, very, very accurately. And then finally, all of that information is automatically pushed back into HQ so that all of the teams at HQ, the commercial leaders, and then the field teams down the line can have access to that up-to-date information and make informed decisions on it. So, what did you just see? Hopefully you saw something that you liked, but I showed you 3 separate and distinct use cases that Aforza Studio supports for your business. We saw how Lily was able to guarantee promotion compliance by being checked in to a store location, capturing a proof of compliance photo, and then having it watermarked with all the details to make sure that when we have that photo, Lily took it in the right place at the right time. And then we saw how Karina was able to detail brands with her customers. She was able to go into a store, she was able to share promotional brochures, product information, even augmented reality models to make sure that the customer got all the information they needed to then go and execute an order after the fact. And then finally, we just saw Jamal do a stock check where he's able to use image recognition to very proactively and easily capture that stock information very efficiently and send that right back to HQ. So there are the 3 demonstrations I wanted to share today around Aforza Studio. As I said, I'm very, very excited about these new capabilities. It's really about bringing all of the digital assets that you have, whether they're captured photos in the field or they're promotion brochures or the 3D models, and utilizing them in the center of your business. So thank you for your time today. Thank you for watching the demonstrations. I'll now hand it back over to Dominic for some final thoughts, and then I think we're into Q&A.
Brilliant. Thank you, Nick. I get so excited by seeing those demonstrations. It's kind of funny, actually. Like, I've seen it before, obviously, right? But like I watch it, I get think, oh wow, we do that. It's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of a funny thing. It's my little reward to myself. Like, okay, this is really cool. So what did you just see? You saw Lily, we're doing promotion compliance. We saw the certified photographs proving what she did. We saw brand detailing. Karina was detailing brands to perfection. And finally, we saw image recognition and how that actually triggered follow-up actions, right? 3 different use cases, but all thematically linked in how you can control things and how you can protect or improve your margins. This is the key thing, right? We're not just doing this for fun, it's a real serious business impact. Now, I want to talk through some next steps and how can you bring this to life, because it's actually a pretty straightforward technology to implement in many ways. So we thought about this, and we suspect that there's many people out there doing different things, perhaps in slightly stovepiped or just random ways. And we think we can help you with a digital content execution benchmarking assessment. That's a little bit of a mouthful, so let me just try and simplify it. We think we can work with you, listen, do a lot of listening, understand what you're trying to do, understand your needs today, and then assess where you are and give you a path to improving your margins with much more controlled process. So on the slide, which I guess is being portrayed below me or something, we see there's a URL, there's a QR code. Please help yourselves. Of course, in the follow-up actions from this webinar, we'll be sending this out, and you can click the link yourself. But we would love to talk to you and hear all about your stories and your challenges, and try to help you if we can. And then, if perhaps that's a little bit too early for you and you want to have a little bit exploring yourself, then by all means, please take a tour. And you can see on the screen here, there's another QR code. QR codes are the theme of the day, it seems. And you can hit the link and go actually have a click around. This is like a guided demonstration where it'll take you through it, and you can control at your own pace, completely stress-free, and get a sense of how it would work in real life, or perhaps for you. Now, thank you so much for giving us your attention today. Your time is valuable. I know just how busy people's working lives are. So we really do genuinely appreciate you investing a little bit of it with us and giving us a chance to share our excitement with the launch of Studio. We really hope you do want to do some of the follow-ups and give feedback in any way. But we're going to do a bit of Q&A now. So this is a bit we're going to ask the marketing team to help me to go try and transition and help answer some questions. Candace is here, Nick's here to help me if I get stuck. Let's see what you've got for me. Okay, marketing team, can you help me?